Good morning, everyone. I am very excited to be here. One of my favorite jobs in the world is to come to schools and share the love of science and math and reading and history and art and music and all the things that we learn. I'm here today with my husband, Steve. We are together the owners of this company that travels. I was in the classroom for 15 years, and I was an instructional coach, and I was a director of science. But today, we're here to bring you High Adventure STEM. So I want to introduce you to another friend of ours, Colin O'Brady. Colin is a 10-time world record holder, and he is the reason we're here today. He takes care of all the expenses for these trips. So let me introduce you to him.
Hi, I'm Colin O'Brady. I'm a professional athlete, mountain climber, explorer. I've set 4 world records, so I climbed the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents, the 7 summits faster than anybody, completed the Explorer's Grand Slam faster than anybody. I was the first person in history to walk across Antarctica solo, unsupported, and unaided, and I also climbed the tallest mountain in each of the 50 US states in just 21 days. But I didn't get here just by accident, you know? I've been physically preparing, mentally preparing for this for a very long time, and I have an incredible team around me, especially my amazing wife Jenna, who helps me dream and build all of these projects throughout my entire life. I also have an amazing team around me of coaches and trainers and nutritionists and doctors and other professionals that have lended their expertise for me to reach for the stars in my own goals. Throughout all my projects, it's not just the physical preparation, but there's also a lot of STEM, science, technology, engineering, math that goes into figuring all these things out. How much weight am I going to carry in my sled to pull it across Antarctica? How much energy am I going to expand every single day? What's the friction as I go up icy terrain in the mountains? There's so much that goes into sort of the background of researching, calculating, and into the ultimate success of my world record projects.
You're right, Colin. If it wasn't for the team of experts that really help you do what you do and really help our entire team be able to do the things that we do to spread the word and to engage with students all around the world.
Absolutely. It's an incredible team we have. I'm so grateful for everyone that's involved. To the students out there, maybe one day you'll want to become an adventurer like me, and set goals in the outdoors. But it's okay if that's not your thing. Maybe you want, invest more in, science, technology, engineering, math, become a doctor one day or a scientist, whatever that is, whatever your passion is, I want you to aim high and really go for it. The future is so bright for all of you.
Yeah, and really the science, technology, engineering, and math, they're not just subjects in school. They're really all about the future, and we're trying to bring that right to you in your schools.
Yes, which is why we created this organization, our nonprofit, Beyond 7-2, to encourage young people of all ages to reach for their highest goals, engage in challenges, really think big, and realize there's a whole world out there of endless possibilities to open your mind and hearts to and really chase your passions no matter what they are.
Yeah, so think big, engage, encourage each other and yourselves to take on the impossible and make it possible.
We are so excited for your adventure today. You're going to get to dream big and engineer a solution to a problem that could possibly help me or someone else be successful in the future. I'm happy that you're here today with Dr. Drizzle to do this amazing adventure that you have in front of you. So please make the impossible possible and get ready for some high adventure STEM today.
Woo!
So back in November, we were with Colin in Portland, Oregon, and at that time, he was a 4-time record holder. But since then, he has just crossed the Drake Passage, rowing with 5 other gentlemen from around the world, and he achieved 6 more world records during that. Now, I'll tell you right now that Colin is pretty strong. He's a really great guy. He does break a lot of world records, but his passion, his love is to help young people find their passion and their impossible. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to look at what he does, and then we're going to look at the science behind that. So this is Colin's adventure when he won the Explorer Grand Slam. That means he traveled to every continent and climbed the highest summit on every continent, including here where he climbed Denali in Alaska. So he climbed all of those summits that you see up there and went to the North and South Pole in just a little under 140 days. Now, it would take me that long to walk from my house in North Carolina to here. But he was able to do all across the world. This is the actual flag that has been to all of those places. So it's been at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro and the top of Denali and at the North Pole and the South Pole. And this is what he allows us to take around so kids can see that for anything that you want to try in life, things are possible for you. So we're going to start out this morning with a science experiment to talk about a little bit about what he does. And I'm going to need my two adult helpers at this time. So Miss J and Mrs. O'Neill, if you guys will come up. He has to make sure that what he does is always safe. So when he is traveling around the country and the world, he experiences temperatures that go down to -70 below zero, which is pretty cold. So I'm going to ask my friends, and they're going to be safe. I'm going to ask you to put on safety goggles, and you're okay with your goggles here. I want you, Ms. O'Neill, to pour this hot water into these pellets of dry ice. And just keep pouring. And stop. So I heard some of you say that's science, and I heard some of you say that's magic. Well, I'm going to tell you that all magic is science because something behind that magic makes it science. So this next one, I'm going to pour a little bit of dishwashing liquid in there and ask Miss J if she will pour water. And just keep pouring and stop. Do you see what's happening there? Do you see Mrs. O'Neill backing backwards? Come on closer. So dry ice is frozen carbon dioxide. Most of our liquids, solids, and gases go through those three stages. But this is frozen carbon dioxide. And when I pull it up, it's going to turn back into gas. So I'm going to put a little bit more water in here and then ask my buddies to grab some bubbles and pop those. Now what's neat about this is that it never goes to a liquid stage. Frozen carbon dioxide or dry ice goes from this dry ice to a gas immediately. Now, boys and girls, dry ice is dangerous. And if we had touched the actual pellets, it would have frozen our finger off. So we always have to use gloves. But once it turns into bubbles, it is completely safe for you to hold on to. So can you give Miss J and Mrs. O'Neill a big hand for being so brave? Good job. So knowing a little bit about dry ice is real important for explorers. They have to be able to understand weather. They have to be able to understand temperature so they don't freeze to death. Another thing that Colin loves to do is he likes to rock climb. And when he rock climbs, he has to be very careful. He has to make sure that when he is all harnessed up and has his carabiners on, that he leans back against the rock. Well, there's this guy in science named Sir Isaac Newton. And Sir Isaac Newton has three things that he really wants kids to think about. And one of those is an object in motion stays in motion. And an object at rest stays at rest. So I thought we would try to demonstrate that with something called Newton's beads. So what I have in here are some specially made beads, and they're all tied together. But I think you could do this with some beads that you might find at the Dollar Tree, and you could tie those together. So I'm going to see if Mr. Newton was right. I'm going to drop this. And I want to see if all of the beads will follow the first one. Now remember, they are tied together, but his rule, one of his laws says that an object in motion stays in motion. So let's see if that will work now. Pretty cool, right? Sir Isaac Newton was a smart guy. So these beads stayed in motion. These beads stayed in motion until they hit the ground. So if we think about rock climbing, you're going to stay in motion until you hit the ground, and hopefully you don't hit the ground, or if something else takes over. What is a force that takes over when we are walking? Yes, sir. Well, an avalanche could happen. We want to be careful. But what natural force do we have that keeps us stuck to the ground? Yes. Gravity. So Newton says that if we're going to stay in motion, unless gravity takes over. So we have dry ice, we have Newton's beads, and here's another piece of science. Another thing that Colin and adventurers have to take care of is knowing how the air moves. So weather moves from west to east. So if I was a map of the United States and you were looking to me as the map, this would be the west coast over here where California and Oregon and Washington are. And this would be the east coast, and we're living right around in here. And the weather moves from this side all the way across to this side. Now the first two letters of weather are W-E. And that's going to be a trick to help you remember that weather moves from west to east. Now there's also something else pretty cool about the weather. We have something called jet streams, and they are columns of air that move from west to east. When you fly in a plane, pilots and traffic controllers like to fly their planes in those jet streams. So if I were flying from California to Boston, and I flew in a jet stream, I would get here faster because my plane would be in this column of air. So I want to make sure that you understand that. So let's look at the science behind it. So is it Kirsten? Kirsten, if you'll come on up, you're going to be my helper. Let's give a hand to Kirsten. So it's, hey, how are you? Good. So it's very cool that we have such a beautiful young lady up here with lovely hair, which means she probably uses a hair dryer on that hair so that it dries pretty quickly. So all you have to do is put on safety goggles. Kirsten, do you have insurance? Do you? Well, we'll try it anyway. I've only lost a couple people, so we're good. You're good, okay? So she is going to turn on this hair dryer in just a moment, and she's going to try to keep the column of air going up and down. And I'm going to see if we can balance a ping pong ball in that air. So I'm going to let you go ahead and turn it on. All right, so we have a column of air, and let's see if she can balance this ball. So this is a column of air. If I were to put my hand through it, the ball is going to leave a little bit. If I completely put my hand through it, the ball is going to drop. This is called Bernoulli's principle. So let's try it again, and we're going to see if we can do a little bit of magic or science. So you're going to turn in just a moment the hair dryer like to a 45-degree angle. And let's see if this ball stays straight, falls, or moves with her hair dryer. Can we give her a hand for that? Pretty cool, right? Thank you very much. So again, that's called Bernoulli's principle. So we're really crowded in here, but I think we can do it. Everyone just put your hands out a little bit like you're a plane. So Bernoulli's principle says that this air moves underneath the wings and it gives them lift. So if there is no Bernoulli's principle, your plane doesn't fly. So put your hands back down. So we've talked about dry ice. We've talked about Newton's first law. And we've talked about Bernoulli's principle. Now there will not be a test on this, but I want you to think about all these cool things that we're talking about because you too can be a scientist or an engineer or a doctor or a historian or a musician, and we need to know how our world works. And this science is all about rockets. Now, how many of you would love to be an astronaut? Excellent. NASA's looking to hire its next flight of candidates to be astronauts. And all they ask is that you know how to get along with each other. You know how to communicate. That means you can talk effectively, and that you can use your noggin to be critical thinkers. But since we don't have NASA here right now, and we're not all going to fly to Mars tomorrow, I'm going to need my other helpers up here, and we're going to show you how rockets can actually move. So I want you guys to move on down just a little bit. Now with Kirsten, I asked her, did she have insurance? And she said she didn't know. And I was just kidding because, I mean, obviously a hairdryer is not going to hurt you. And I would never put you guys up here in harm's way. But I do have to ask you, do you have insurance? Because this is different. Are y'all feeling okay? What grade are you guys in? 4th, 7th, 8th, 6th? Okay. Well, Mrs. O'Neill prayed this morning, so I think we're good. So get a little closer. Now, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to pick up your film canister. That's going to be the little black container. I want you to pick up the film canister and the cap for it. And I just want you practicing putting the cap on and off, because it's very important that when we do this experiment that cap goes on and you hear it pop. So just try on and off a couple times. Do you feel comfortable that that's going to go on and off? All right, so they have a film canister. Okay, film canisters. Back in the day, when your parents were younger, we would have these big cameras. And inside of the cameras, we would have film, which was this long plastic thing that you're never supposed to unroll in front of your parents. I may not have done that, but twice. And they put it in the camera and they took pictures at holidays and birthdays. And then we had to wait like 10 days before we got our pictures back. Now we can just put our phone up and we get our pictures instantly. But these are film canisters. The film came in there. The next thing they have is a little red cup. Can you guys pick up your red cup? Now you're going to notice that there's a little bit of water in there, not a lot. So that's something else they're going to use. You can set that down right beside you. And then the last thing that they're going to use is an Alka-Seltzer. Now an Alka-Seltzer is a tablet that older people, like 20 and up, use when their tummy hurts. They put the little tablet into water and it fizzes. You may have some of the same problems with your tummy, but your mom or dad or whoever you live with might give you like some soda that has carbonation in it, like a Sprite or a ginger ale. But these guys are pretty old up here, and they're going to use the Alka-Seltzers. We're not going to eat these guys, okay? So please don't put these in your mouth. We're going to pour the water. Go ahead and do that. Pour the water into your black canister. Let's do it backwards and see if we can get a bigger explosion. I mean, not an explosion. You're fine, I think. Now, when I say go, and not before, put those goggles on. You need to protect your eyes. When I say go, you're going to drop the tablet into the canister. You're going to put the lid on tight where you hear it pop, and then turn the canister upside down. And then run. Back away just a little bit. Now, they have to put the lid on tight. They have to put the lid on tight because they don't want any of the water getting out of the canister. So they're using a solid, which is the Alka-Seltzer, the water, which is a liquid, and then what's the other state of matter that this is going to turn into? Yes, sir. A gas. So remember with the dry ice, it's already a frozen gas and never goes to a liquid. This is going to go from a solid mixed with a liquid to a gas. Now let's just review. You will drop, cap, turn, pray. All right? You look beautiful. I have Band-Aids over here. They're going to be giving those out in just a moment, so don't worry. So kids, we're going to help. I'm going to move out of your way in just a second. We're going to help by counting down from 5, but don't do it until I say go. So why don't you go ahead and hold your canister, get your Alka-Seltzer tablet ready. If it broke in two, just use both halves for it. All right, I'm going to hide behind her, and we're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Hang on. Did they all go? They all went?
Yes.
Can we give our next astronauts to Mars a big hand? Excellent job. All of those experiments worked the first time, and that's great. But not everything works the first time. In fact, I like to say that the word fail means first attempt in learning. Because if we don't fail sometimes, we don't learn. We also say that failure is always an option. There is this liquid that you can buy at the grocery store called 409 cleaner. It's in a big white bottle, and you spray it on things and it cleans it. I mean, you have to rub it with a rag and everything, but it cleans it. The people that created that and named it 409 messed up 408 times before they got it right. That is a huge amount of times to make mistakes, but they did not give up. Because if they had given up, we wouldn't have this wonderful cleaner, and my husband would not be able to clean the bathrooms. And that would be just really, really sad. There's another product called WD-40. It's what people spray on door locks and on rocking chairs to make them not creak anymore. 2 guys from Chicago spent 39 times getting it wrong before they got it right. Now imagine if they had spent like 7,000 times. Then it would be called WD 7326. So we're glad they got it right. But I want you to know that failure, messing up, is always an okay thing because we learn from it. So we've talked about dry ice. We've talked about Newton and his law. We've also talked about air pressure, Bernoulli's principle. We've done a little rockets. And the last thing I want to talk about are drones. Now, drones are pretty important right now in our world because they can go places that people can't. When we have those big fires out west, firefighters can't always go right into the fire. They can send drones, little powered aircraft, out, and they can take pictures with it, and it helps the firefighters and the rescuers plan what they're going to do before they go out there. Well, adventurers like Colin also use these drones to send out to see if things are safe before they take off. Now, most drones are programmed with something like programs called Scratch or Tinker, or they use computer codes. And then we have some drones that are programmed with just movements or gestures. And that's what we're going to look at today. So I have this little drone up here that I carry with me. And it works on movement. So when it gets around things that are moving, it keeps moving. So I'm going to need you guys to be my programmers today and my movement. So what we're going to do is we're just going to practice gesturing, just like we're calling someone to come to us, okay? We can do it any way we want to. And I'm going to see if we can get this drone to fly. Now, where is my tech team? So I just want you to be aware that this is flying around. And wherever it flies, once I say retrieve, you're going to be the retrievers. Now, you don't need safety goggles. Nothing's going to explode. However, I have found out that if a drone is hovering over a group of kindergartners, first grade, pre-K, third graders, and someone tries to take it away, they sometimes get a little nasty. So be aware and protect your face at all times, okay? So if I can have some of my tech team just move over to this side, because we're not sure where this is going to go. Yes, Mrs. O'Neill, you have the sweetest people here. They just clap for each other all the time. So let me see if I can get this to work. Remember, you're going to do
Look at that wonderful boys and girls. My goodness gracious. So much. Thank you so much for your goodness. Thank you so much for the opportunities you afforded our school and for the wonderful presentation and for your statement in faith. Because as say in the scripture, nothing is impossible with God. And that is so true for all of our lives.
He said it first, right?
Yeah, that's right. Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Good job, boys and girls. Thank you for being so attentive. Thank you.
So some of you will understand this because we've had conversations one-on-one. But I often tell students that what's in my heart comes out my eyes. And I am filled with tears because you were amazing. You were amazing. What a blessing this is, and what a gift to us, and what a gift you are to all of us. I am absolutely amazed at what you do, how you do it, and the message that you give. That I'm possible and nothing is impossible is what we try to instill in you every single day with every challenge you have. And we are blessed to have had you come today. We've had this big assembly and everybody has heard from Dr. Drizzle. We are going to have 2 of our classes that are going to have a special lesson with Dr. Drizzle. We wish we could do everyone, but they are off and running, going up to Maine and Halifax when they leave here today. So we can only take 2 classes, but those teachers are going to have an opportunity to share with all of you. And all of the teachers will be meeting with Dr. Drizzle this afternoon to learn more about what she did today and some ideas of ways that we can integrate this into all of our classes. So thank you again. Please give her a round of applause.
My name is Andrew Schmidt. I'm in 7th grade at St. Bernadette School. I like the experiment when it popped out and exploded. It's cool. When I finish school, I want to do professional sports like baseball. My favorite subject is math.
My name is Matthew Crowley. I'm in 6th grade at St. Bernadette School. I like math a lot. I liked doing the experiment.
My name is Walter Becky. I'm in 5th grade at St. Bernadette School. My favorite thing in school is math and social studies. Yeah, I really liked the experiment. It was cool. When I finish school, I want to be a basketball player.
My name is Kirsten Stiles. I am in 7th grade at St. Bernadette School. My favorite thing in school is math and science. Today I like doing the floating ball experiment. It was very fun.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Kuji. I'm an 8th grader at St. Bernadette School. Yes, I very much enjoyed the dry ice presentation.
Hello, my name is Thanos Sengas. I'm in 8th grade at St. Bernadette. My favorite subject is social studies. I enjoyed today. My favorite thing was the film capsule.
My name is Mary Ann Jazarski. The kids know me as Miss J. I'm a middle school social studies teacher and level coordinator at St. Bernadette School, and I've been here for 20 years. I've known Dr. Drizzle for about 8 years. So today was such a blessing and a gift to our school that Dr. Drizzle came to see us. We're not a STEM school. We have science, but this has opened up so many opportunities and great ideas for our teachers going forward for our children. I'd like to thank Colin and Jenna for this opportunity and this blessing that they brought to our school. We will never forget it.
My name is Deborah O'Neill, and I'm the principal here at St. Bernadette School. This is my 15th year at St. Bernadette's. St. Bernadette School is the newest and the largest elementary school in the Diocese of Worcester. We are 22 years old. We are a pre-K 3 through 8th grade school, and we have about 435 students coming from 34 different communities. We like to brag about the fact that our bishop has called us the flagship of the Diocese of Worcester Catholic Schools. So this is one of the reasons. We are blessed by the visitors who take an interest in us, in our students, and provide us with opportunities to give them more than what typically might happen in a classroom. So this kind of hands-on experience is something that will inspire them for a long time, I'm sure. I think the word that comes to mind to me about today is that it was inspiring. It was inspiring to see the enthusiasm. It was inspiring to see the problem solving, the cooperation. The kids were truly excited, and it gave them an opportunity to really understand that they can do so many things. The problem solving and the collaboration that took place really, I think, underscored that for all of them, as we saw with just how excited they were to be able to take those cars back to class. So we are so grateful to Colin and Jenna for their generosity and for making this possible for us. We have made an attempt in the past to have events like this, and I have to say this is the most successful and certainly the one that every child is going to walk out of here today inspired and feeling so good about themselves that they did something that before today they might not have thought was possible.
So if you look at your table, turn to where your place is, and look, these are your materials. These are what you are allowed to use. In addition to that are the scissors. Miss Kate, can you get the scissors for us out too? And there is tape, which will be your fastener. That's in the middle also. So we're going to be using the engineering design process, which means there are certain constraints and constructs that we have to follow. Your task is to build an air-powered vehicle. Now, when I say air-powered, that means it cannot be powered with your hands. Some people like to try to test that a little bit and say, oh, she didn't say it couldn't be powered with your feet. So we're going to say no body parts are going to be allowed to power with your feet. You have a piece of cardboard, we call it chipboard. If you were to touch it and feel it, you're going to notice that it has a little bit of strength and durability to it. So it's not a piece of cardboard that's going to fall apart when you touch it. It's pretty strong. And a 50-weight piece of chipboard, the higher the weight, the sturdier something is. You have a plastic straw that has a flexi part on it. Let's pick that up for a moment. Now, your straw can be used for whatever you want it to be used for, but I want you to pull the little flexi part out for just a minute. Make your straw move. So that is really important because you are allowed. Let me talk first, and I'll get you back together. You are allowed to use that straw in whatever capacity you want to. So it can be fully extended, it can stay pushed together, it can be cut into multiple pieces. That is your thing. Pick up your paper straw. Now your paper straw is not as flexible. So you may also use that in one whole piece, or it can be cut into multiple pieces. However, let me be clear, those are the only resources you get. So if you were to cut something, you need to think in your head, how would you put that back together if you didn't want to cut? In carpentry, they say to measure twice and cut once. So in engineering, I want you to think thrice. That's 3 times before you make a cut, because cuts are sometimes you can't put them back. You also have 4 round discs. I'm not calling them a particular word because I want you to come up with your ideas of how you're going to use them. thing you have are these small floppy strings. Now, your task is to build an air-powered vehicle that goes at least 6 feet on its own with some type of air-powered piece. So your last material that you will get when you get to a certain point and you're ready for it will be a balloon. So think about what a balloon does. I'm going to ask that your lips never touch the balloon. So that's one of your constructs. That means you can't let that happen. If you do let it happen, as an engineer, I wouldn't hire you for my firm. You've got to think of another way that you can use the balloon and the materials that you have. So the balloon never touches your lips. When I say engineer, you're going to say back learning, and that's going to stop you from talking so I can give you some proprietary information. Some information that only you need. So let's practice that for a moment. Talk to your neighbor for a moment.